Well, I'm Veta Hemric, and I have a few notes that I've made here. And I wrote this morning, and I'm probably going to have to read it. I do know pretty much what it says, but I was perusing the internet and found a site that had a lot of comments and blogs posted in mid-year 2006 about the possibility of Hillary Rodham Clinton running for president of the United States. And these are my comments. I have been through a long siege, and we're still in the siege, a battle against the system. It's been a long time since this article appeared in the newspaper about the company that I once ran. It was a very nice company. It had a lot of good people, ladies that had children in school, and we worked the school hours. We had a good product, and we had a national response to our product. It talks in this article about our company, mine and my daughters, and other people that worked here, and the places that we shipped. Well, the big trucks don't roll here anymore, and I'm about to tell you why. Okay. I found many comments as of the mid-year 2006 and the anticipation and the non-anticipation of Hillary Clinton as being voiced by many. Who would and would not vote for Mrs. Clinton, and the whys behind their decisions were there. As for me, I'm sorry, but I will not be voting for Hillary Clinton because I am a former businesswoman who has been forced out of business prior to and during the Clinton years to today, in the early days of the year 2007. My trauma began in 1990 and continues to today. I have watched and listened to Hillary Clinton and her reasons for going to China many years ago and other countries in the interest of women, health issues, and other plausible do-gooder techniques of politicians, male and female. Hillary Clinton has made her mark with her efforts as supposedly being interested in the welfare of others, especially women. She said she wanted every woman everywhere to enjoy what women in America knew. I, too, would like to enjoy my misplaced rights as a citizen of the United States of America. I would like to have the same rights and a level playing field as a business owner. A woman who once was a respected business owner and opened the doors of commerce to the world in my backyard, backdoor, farm-located business in rural Yadkin County, North Carolina. The laws and rights are different from me, different from those granted to the women of color, the Asian woman, and the Hispanic woman in the United States. The open hand is not open to me. I, unfortunately, have fallen through every crack in the system. Iraq has become a smokescreen to make oblivious the American public to what is really going on in this country. Iraq is a diversionary tactic with human life and human life sacrifices attached to it. That is a shame and a disgrace that this war existed before we became involved, and even more so after we have become so embroiled into the lives and conflicts of this foreign country. The United States, this is where I was born. Unfortunately, I was born white. This is where I have issues that need addressing, and I am not alone. I speak for many that I have met in my seeking a life again. Many American citizens have been forced out of their comfort zone since the date of 9/11/2001. America changed. You must be resilient and willing to change on a moment's notice in any field, in any walk of life, and especially after the trauma that caused the lives of Americans to change on the date of 9/11/2001. You'll be swallowed up by the system and forgotten if you cannot change. Perfect crimes are not committed. They are allowed to be committed. And when good people stand by and do nothing, to correct injustices, evil prevails. Evil is prevailing and has prevailed in my personal situation, and the laws are not being adhered to. Where this all ends is yet to be determined. I have traveled abroad and shown my goods abroad, but I grew up and made my home here. The U.S. remains my choice as a business location, and I am in business with my 83-year-old mother, who has just done a video presentation also. I have suffered the slings and arrows of society and the injustices of the court systems, and my losses are high, but my self-esteem is intact. I have asked appropriate questions about procedures that were backed up by law. A D-Day invasion and earned a Purple Heart and farmed this farm for 40 years with a paralyzed arm, sacrificed in service to this country. That's what this is about, and we have young men and women dying in Iraq. For what purpose? So everything that my dad and his family and my family has worked for goes down the tubes in this ridiculous situation of loss. Think about it. Is one American life there worth losing for what I have suffered and I know others have suffered in this country? Think about it. These favors that went to other countries for favors to the Clinton administration have been costly and will continue to be costly. Our armed forces was cut down immensely, and it is built back up, and it is in need now. For what purpose, it's debatable. As for business, I fought NAFTA. I personally attended meetings at UNC Greensboro with my agent in representation from Savannah, Georgia, and a man from Tennessee, an anticipated business partner. We begged for help in every way we could get a notice of attention. I fought NAFTA, and I was right to do so. Money talks, and all the words my money learned to say was goodbye. This is what a lot of American people have learned is the language of money, and we are now pursuing a different avenue. We've all learned to press one for English. As we watch our country bend to make sure that our southern invaders that are making their place well established in this country can read our labels and purchase what products are sold in this country. And a lot of them are sold by the Hispanics, and they even have their own radio and TV stations. Unfortunately, I don't have mine yet. I'm seeking that avenue shortly. Communication is important. That is why I'm divorced. A lack of communication and a separate agenda. My now ex-husband and Carolina Farm Credit, the bankers again, were all communicating well. I was a project to take down, and the farm was the prize to take, and my mother's property became the target also. Elder abuse and predatory lending is what is happening right here and now in this country, with the largest audience for financial perpetrators to choose from than ever. The baby boomers are coming of age, and so are their fortunes. I am starting over, entering into the 17th year of my battles with the system. Although I have been blacklisted by the newspapers and have no way to get my message out to my neighbors other than self-publication and the internet, and I have about been blacklisted by my neighbors. This is an old story, and everyone is tired of hearing it, and I'm tired of living it. I am going to make it. Hillary Clinton is going to be my path to success, to all that I have been denied. My plight and the plight of other women like me, this is what she has stated repeatedly as what she is concerned about. My situation is being made notice to her and others running for this most prized office in the world. Let us see how concerned this woman, Hillary Clinton, is when confronted with a real-life woman in business. Formerly in business, I should say. Real people have real life situations and real problems that must be addressed. And we do have real problems in the United States. Let us see what she's really interested in when this is addressed. Charity does begin at home. I am offering Hillary Clinton a chance to make her stand right here on this property, along with all the other political hopefuls for the office of President of the United States of America. I'm still alive and able to stand upright. This is an important statement, as my mother and I were rear-ended by an 18-wheeler in 1999, and my right knee really took a bashing, as did my entire right side with every joint knowing the pain of the damaging jolt. It was as if you knew you were supposed to be dead, but you weren't. The aura in that vehicle crunched from both ends. We were crunched between two 18-wheelers. The aura in that vehicle was unexplainable, and the words that I heard were almost audible. They went across in front of my face in big bold letters, "Expose them." And I didn't know who them was. I know today. By the way, I had no health insurance during this time. These traumas had to be handled the best way I could handle them, as my husband did not allow health insurance, and he canceled out a good portion of life insurance. $550,000 worth of whole life insurance for our future and the future of our children went down the tubes when I became unable to work and pay the premiums. That's a rough blow. That's my future. It's gone. I have been on my own. I'm still standing and teaching others how to do the same. The government should get all of these people on welfare on the same treadmill they have put me on. This is called the treadmill of life, and it's been a tough tread. I qualify for nothing because I am white and I can still stand up. I need a minimum of 3 hours daily for my own self-therapies of stretching, sauna, yoga, swimming, and other means to stay fit and healthy, so I don't impose upon the system and request anything of your precious money that has been withheld from me religiously. I have actually been told that I look too good to cry pain. I would like any of you out there who see this and hear this to write your own description of pain and mail it to me. I will see to it that it gets into my book. A physical description of pain. Write it and send it to me. Like I said, I'm still standing, taller today than yesterday. I stand for something. Do you? I have been blacklisted for seeking the truth and equal rights to operate as a white businesswoman in the United States. I have seen the tricksters in the courts from a front row seat as me and my business have been brutalized and forced out of existence. Give the same treatment that was given to my incorporated. This statement was ignored. This position in my business was ignored. I paid money to a lawyer to do this. My name, my credibility to those of other races and backgrounds are unimportant. If you treat everyone as I have been treated, the immigration problem will settle itself. Absolutely no one would cross a border to come here to be treated as I have been treated. I can solve the immigration problem. Treat them like I've been treated. I have learned to sleep in my car, eat honey and vinegar for survival. I learned later it's really good for you. And to use a porta-john at street festivals and fairs. I'm tempted to name one and paint it gold. Name it the Hillary and put it here on the farm for posterity and a remembrance of times past and the experiences I was forced to know. After my wonderful presentation in Germany in January of 1990. 17 years ago, I believe on the 6th of January, a little more than 17 years ago now, I was fortunate enough to be one of 97 American companies presenting American products there. I came home to be forced into Chapter 11 bankruptcy by a lazy banker. There's that word again. A deacon in the church, sung in the choir, worked as a volunteer in the school system. Big man to have on your side. I began my trek back by doing whatever it took to make it. I had the IRS, the jackbooted thugs, to enter my life, and they never let up. Society goes away and isolation begins when the IRS comes into your life. You are definitely on your own. Chuck Mobley and James Bolin, they landed the final blow on the business. In 1994, we faced the Los Angeles earthquake on Martin Luther King's birthday in January. By February 4th, I had decided that I could not make my payments to the bankruptcy system. I approached Sandra Barr, and I approached James Bolin. Sandra Barr was wonderful and understanding. James Bolin, 4 days later, they seized my bank account, my Spiegel account, my Eddie Bauer account, and my wonderful Manual Woodworks account. I had created my own internal banking system and was paying my way out of the Chapter 11. I have had as many as 8 bank accounts seized in one day by the IRS. They have actually called here and asked, "How are you surviving?" My answer, "Very well, thank you. I live on a farm. Would you like for me to bring you some fresh vegetables? I live on a chicken farm. We have fresh eggs. I can eat eggs any way you can name it. And watermelons and tomatoes and fresh vegetables in the summertime. I now teach raw foods and juicing classes. I'm a student of Ayurveda, yoga. I'm a master hypnotist. I can recognize your traits. When you're out to deceive me, I can catch you in your game." Sorry. I even asked James Bolin if he wanted to play tennis on Sunday morning. I used to go for tennis at Tanglewood, and sometimes I needed a partner. He refused the invitation and hung up on me. Never let them see you sweat. And I haven't. Back to the notes. We'll leave the notes for a moment. We went through the IRS seizure on February 8th, 1994. The UPS strike was in April. And then that was followed by a truckers' strike in May. I never recovered. By January 1995, I believe it was January 30th, 1995, my business was officially dissolved by Secretary of State Rufus Edmondson. So goes the business. The big trucks don't roll here anymore. I had presented my product at the 1990 Heimtech show in Frankfurt, Germany, as one of 97 American companies, and I had been assisted by 4 U.S. Chambers of Commerce as I was a late entry, and I was never treated more like royalty in my life anywhere I have ever been. I came home to be forced into the Chapter 11 bankruptcy by a lazy banker, and like I said, a deacon in the church, and I began my trek back to do whatever it took. All this suffering and loss is due to the fact that I dared to know and learn the law and my rights to ask questions. I will never lower my head. I was right yesterday, I am right today, and I will remain right throughout all the tomorrows to come, no matter what the books of life in the clerk of court's office reflect as my time on this planet. This is the sad part. This is my legacy recorded in print and fashioned for all to see forever. and it is all based on a lie. Character assassination is a horrible thing. It's the same as death. I have become the walking dead in the United States of America. Mrs. Clinton is seeking to restore her character also. I, as a woman, know in her heart she has been hurt by all the things that have been said. I don't care what her profession is or how hard the shield is she puts up. She is a woman at heart, and I know what she is about also, because I too am a woman who has suffered the slings and arrows of society. Today I'm creating a video from my former home that is now a bed and breakfast facility on the family farm. My dad's home place is to open around March 1st, 2007, and a wonderful wedding grounds is being opened for operation, along with meditation areas and walking trails. In other words, it's a community experience to be had here, an enlightenment program for which we need funding to do it right, to make it gorgeous. Our money has gone to the legal defense teams from hell. They have done nothing for us. Greenbrier Place, Hemric House, and the Rose and Thistle Coffee House are facilities on this farm now, and are places to which Hillary Clinton and all the hopefuls, all the others who have launched their exploratories, are being invited. Mrs. Clinton has already been invited the day after she announced her candidacy. I have lived a substandard life since the death of my father in 1985, and the drought years that followed his death and the near death of my mother in an automobile accident only 36 days later were very traumatic. My mom forgot to mention the drought years in her video, and I spoke yesterday at length. I have joined the NFIB, that is the National Federation of Independent Business Owners, and I spoke at length yesterday to the state director. I asked him to name the drought of the years 1986 and 87, and he thought a moment, and he couldn't do it. He said, "I'm sorry, but I cannot recall the name of that." I said, "You know why? Droughts don't get names. They're not notable like hurricanes and other weather events of instant trauma. The drought years of 1986 and 87 will never be overcome by my family. They have left their mark for years, and they are not named. However, we do have something that has a name. I've lived on fumes while fighting to be what and who I know I am. And on October 22nd, 2006, I became the proud owner of the WBBWN, the White Battered Business Woman Network, and will be seeking the support of other women in this country, and men too, if they do not want to see this type of treatment continue to women in this country. I will not crawl under a rock. I will not hide the facts. That is what the lawyers have been paid to do. I will seek memberships into this fine, meritorious organization for white business women who have no recourse and no place to go. Congress is where I was told I should seek my solace. That's a joke. I mean to make a difference and to make sure that Hillary Clinton does see what a real American businesswoman looks like from the farm. This has been a business of merit and hired a lot of people and gave a lot of high school students their first place of employment. And I have had nothing but the best of comments from our largest employer in the county, Unify. Ellen Youngblood, who is now deceased, used to call me when she would get one of my DECA students who had worked here previously, and she'd say, "You know, when we get a young person who has had training under you, they are the best workers. They really have good work ethics. We're proud to have any student that you have trained in your place of business. They know how to work." I'm very proud to have worked with the high school students and to have given them their first shot at jobs. Chris Cottle, at the age of 18, when he applied for work at Unify, he told them he had 8 years work experience. They called me and asked me if that was correct. I said, "Well, yeah, it was." As a child, he had worked here on the farm. He's helped me dig up bushes, move bushes, work with my then husband in the poultry houses. He had been here for 8 years, and he did have 8 years work experience at the age of 18. Good kid. Still stops by to check on me and see how I'm doing. He's grown now and has a family of his own. He's a great guy. I'm proud to have any part in his life. Jeff Wallace is now a principal at our local high school. He worked here also. There are good people in this community, and I've met a lot of them. I've had them in my employ, and they didn't work for me. They worked with me and my mother. I dare Hillary Clinton to walk in my shoes and suffer the struggles I have struggled. I have handled them well. Once she has experienced my experiences, then she might tell me how wonderful it is to live in this country. She needs to get a real job for at least 2 decades and live like ordinary people live. She needs to know and respect what real people are suffering in the legal systems and the denials suffered in the banking and financial industries. We walk fine lines and have to kiss up to lazy, arrogant, nothing-at-risk bankers. Everything we have is on the line. We as business owners are the risk takers. My signs were picked up this past week for the bed and breakfast. I bought those signs with borrowed money. State officials picked them up, probably threw them away. I don't have money to put more signs up, and they refuse to put a listing on the highway for this bed and breakfast. I don't have any clue as to how Hillary Clinton and the rest of the world will find their way in here, because MapQuest still lists Oak Grove Church Road on the directions, and it's non-existent. These are just fine little things that we're still suffering with. Business owners pay taxes that pay the salaries of these state-employed people. Let us not forget where our money comes from. Small business makes up the bigger portion of what runs this country. I had 52 sales reps on the road and 18 employees when this business went down. It was nice knowing you guys. We need to correct the ills of this country before we move into other countries to make them just like us. We're so good. I had supposed assistance from the office of Bill Clinton as president. Bill Clinton's letter to me about help for my business fell on deaf ears. This, at that time, was a self-help program for women, and it was through the SBA, and I was directed to the Charlotte SBA. The letter that directed me to the SBA of Charlotte on White House stationery with the eagle imprinted in the stationery brought only more humiliation and loss and more discrimination. I have suffered equal credit discrimination, marital discrimination, and now I'm going to get the race card played. Reverse discrimination. The very first thing I was asked, "What race are you?" When I answered white, I was told this program was for Asian, Black, and Hispanic women business owners. When I asked for her name as an employee of the SBA in Charlotte, North Carolina, she promptly hung up without answering. So goes my life as a white woman. Business owner. This type of behavior is what I have endured for nearly 2 decades, as I have fought to keep this more than 200-year-old farm property the location for my national and possible international business, manufacturing, and shipping facility. This was an artistic lamp and shade business, and it went down the tubes. It is my desire to once again make this farm something really special and wonderful as part of this community. And my area has now become noted as North Carolina wine country. We have 4 vineyards and wineries, and they're all just beautiful, and they're within 5 to 10 minutes of here. I am 5 minutes off of I-77 and US 421. Location, location, location. Why do you think everyone else wants this property? The fight is today, and the fight goes on in another arena. We now have an embezzlement issue for many months now. It's in the hands of the FBI, and they're a little sluggish. They're a lot sluggish. In fact, I made the remark to them that if every business in this country ran as slow as their investigation of this case, there would be no business done in this country. There's no excuse for anything moving this slowly when the lives and savings and the futures of two women and the business are at stake. I will see if I can't speed that up. First of the week. We have been seeking relief and damages from horrible circumstances for nearly 2 decades. We now face also identity theft issues that are draining us financially, emotionally, and credit worthiness is now once again on the line for my mother. This time, mine has been gone for years. We have put everything we own at risk, including the roofs over our heads. This identity theft crisis turned up in the purchase of 35 additional acres that we're bringing back into this farm as part of our project. We have a gentleman who has stepped in from Canada to help us. He's put diligent hours in and is almost there. Relief is in sight. My mother and I spent yesterday afternoon in the offices of the Social Security Administration. We have been advised to change both our identities. This takes a long time to do, and I have been asked to furnish, guess what? All the legal records showing and substantiating the damages that we have suffered that have not been corrected. Let's see where this goes. The saga continues. I noticed that in the State of the Union address, I did not hear George W. Bush, President of the United States, mention a single word related to elder abuse, predatory lending, financial exploitation, legalized extortion by lawyers, or illegal credit procedures. Nor did I hear the words medical prescription overdosing. I forgot to mention that I was overdosed on thyroid medication for 28 years. 2/3 of my thyroid was removed the next day after I graduated from high school. Improper medical watching of me has been performed, and I was made very sick, have spent tens of thousands of dollars on medical treatment and pain that was unnecessary for me to have. I corrected it by being inquisitive and seeking out the answers myself. When 18 doctors did not find the cause or the cure or ask questions, I continued to ask questions, and I did find the cause. There's been no medical malpractice suit filed because, unfortunately, I was the only one that sought to file an issue against the doctor who was not performing thyroid tests on me each year he did my physical. I saved this farm with my paintbrush and X-Acto knife. One's like the terrorist use, I'm told. My line of lampshades is a hand-cut shade. While under the effects of medical prescription overdosing, while I induce the effects of arthritis and pain above and beyond, I can tell you, I worked in a neck brace, a back brace, a wrist brace, and a mouth splint for TMJ pain. I was also in a head-on collision in 1975. And I don't take any medications today, and I don't know pain. I know how to handle my body and myself, and my body wants to heal, and my life wants financial funding, and we want what we have earned back. I definitely do. It takes a village, Mrs. Clinton once wrote. That is her book. And she's exactly right. I live in the Bible Belt. I'm putting together a comedy routine. This has become ludicrous. My act will be called put another notch in the Bible belt, because it's been cinched tight around me. All my problems started with deacons who were in positions in the banking industry. I'm now the proud owner of an $867,000 divorce debt. And the bill is not finished, it's still growing. Divorced on April 4th, 2005, my dad's birthday and my daughter's birthday. My now ex-husband is part of my life more than ever. We fight this daily battle of recovery, my mom and myself. I am being forced out of my village by my church and its non-support. The Legal Aid Society directed me to the churches for help about 4 years ago. When I sought help, I was made fun of and mocked. Make sense? All these problems were started by deacons in the church who hold positions of economic impact. They are bankers, officials, lawyers, and judges, agents in lending institution. Bankers who contrive to defraud the elderly must be stopped. Hillary Clinton, George Bush, whoever it takes. This has got to be stopped. No one deserves what we have had here. I intend to make 4844 Collins Road a noted address in this country. These people contribute to the collection plate on Sunday and rape and pillage the lives of the people of the community on Monday and the rest of the week, to force us into the theater called court, the last resort for right and justice. This is the joke of the century. And the last thing we need in the White House is someone who does not understand that my 83-year-old mother, who was caught right in the middle of this nasty marriage, separation, property settlement, and divorce issue, is not able to ever make back what she has been deprived of making in the use of her farmland. She is in her elder years. And I don't like what I'm watching, and I don't like what she's suffering, and I certainly don't like what I have suffered. And I don't have the years to make back what I've lost either. Somebody needs to pay up, and soon. I turned 61 years old yesterday on January 26th, and have many more years ahead of me in the good health that I teach others to seek. My grandmother lived to be 97 years old, and her mother, my great-grandmother, lived to be 101. We have good genes. You have seen the people with the signs, I work for food. They're beggars. I work for food. Is that not what we all work for? Food is a necessity of life, and we all consume it each and every day in some manner. I work for food from my own property and have been battling the system through Reagan, George Bush Sr., Bill Clinton, and now George W. Bush, and who knows who's next. It has been a very difficult struggle and has made no difference who or what was in the political arena. I have not had a break. I have not been listened to. I have been mocked for asking the right questions, and I got the right answers. But who cares? Who cares? And I have not been given what the laws that we paid fat cat lawmakers to develop and to put into place. The laws have become useless and just expensive words on paper. Take a look at who we are and what we are, and take a trip to North Carolina. Visit a real American business team, my mother and me. Visit Greenbrier Place via the internet and come see us. www.greenbrierplace.com.